There comes a moment in every life when the noise of the world begins to fade and a deeper question rises from within. Who am I? And what was I truly created to become? You may have spent years measuring yourself by the standards of others, comparing your journey to someone else's success, and wondering why your path feels different. But what if that difference is not a flaw? What if it is the very sign that you carry something rare, something intentional, something placed within you for a purpose far greater than you have yet imagined? You were not created by accident, and the abilities within you are not random. There are strengths in you that have been quietly waiting, patiently growing, even in the seasons when you felt overlooked or uncertain. There are talents within you that may have been buried under doubt, fear, or the weight of other people's expectations, yet they are still there, alive and ready to be awakened. The world may not have recognized them yet, but that does not mean they are not real, and it certainly does not mean they are not powerful. Too often, people spend their lives searching outside for validation while ignoring the treasure that has already been placed within them. They chase approval, they follow crowds, they silence their inner voice just to fit in, but deep down, there is a calling that refuses to stay quiet. It whispers that you were made for more, that your life carries meaning, that your gifts are not meant to stay hidden. And when you begin to listen to that voice, something begins to shift inside you. Today is not just about motivation, it is about awakening. It is about opening your eyes to the truth that you already carry something valuable, something unique, something that no one else on this earth can fully replicate. Your strengths are not accidents. Your talents are not coincidences. They are part of a greater design. And when you begin to discover them, when you choose to believe in them and step into them with courage, your life will begin to move in a direction that feels aligned, purposeful, and powerful. So as you listen, let your heart be open, let your mind be ready, and let your spirit be willing to see yourself in a new light. Because what you are about to discover is not something outside of you. It is something that has been within you all along, waiting for this very moment to rise. There is a version of you that the world has not met yet. And it is not because you do not have what it takes. It is because you have not fully stepped into it yet. Too many people walk through life carrying greatness like it is a secret they are afraid to reveal. They play small not because they are small, but because somewhere along the way they were taught to doubt what lives inside them. But let me tell you something real, that power in you is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for courage. You have been through things that should have broken you, and yet here you stand. That alone tells you there is something different about you. There is strength in your story that cannot be copied, and resilience in your spirit that cannot be taught. Every struggle, every setback, every moment you thought you would not make, it was shaping something deeper within you. That was not life trying to stop you. That was life preparing you. The problem is, most people go through the process but never recognize the power it builds. See, the world does not reward potential, it responds to action. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you keep it locked behind fear, hesitation, and excuses, nobody will ever see it, not because it is not there, but because you chose not to show it. And that is the hard truth you have to face. It is not about waiting for the perfect time, because that time does not exist. It is about deciding right now that you are done hiding what you were given. You have a voice, but you keep silencing it. You have ideas, but you keep second-guessing them. You have abilities, but you keep comparing them. And every time you do that, you dim your own light. Stop doing that. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Stop acting like your gift is something to apologize for. What you carry was given to you for a reason, and it is not meant to stay hidden. There is discipline required to unlock what is inside you. This is not about hype. This is about commitment. It is about waking up and choosing growth when it is uncomfortable. It is about pushing forward when nobody is watching, when nobody is clapping, when nobody is telling you to keep going. Because that is where the real power is built, in those quiet moments, when it is just you and your will to become more. You are going to have days when doubt creeps in, when your mind starts telling you that you are not ready, that you are not good enough, that maybe you should just stay where you are because it feels safe. But safety will never take you where greatness is waiting. You have to learn how to move even when fear is present. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something else matters more. Understand this. Clearly, nobody is coming to unlock this for you. There is no shortcut, no secret formula, no moment where everything suddenly becomes easy. It is work, real work on yourself, your mindset, your habits, your consistency. You have to look at yourself honestly and ask, are you really giving your best? Or are you just giving what is comfortable? Because those two things are not the same. And the results will never be the same. The world has yet to see what you can truly do, because you have not yet demanded that level from yourself. You have been operating below your capacity and calling it effort. You have been settling for average and calling it enough. But deep down, you know the truth. You know there is more in you, and that knowing will not leave you alone. It will keep pushing you, it will keep bothering you, until you either rise up or you continue to ignore it and live with regret. So you have a choice right now. You can keep waiting, keep doubting, keep holding back, or you can decide that today is the day you start unlocking what has been inside you all along. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when everything feels perfect, but now. You start showing up differently, you start thinking differently, you start acting like the person you know you are capable of becoming. And when you do that consistently, something begins to shift. Your confidence grows, not because someone gave it to you, but because you earned it. Your mindset sharpens because you stopped feeding it negativity. Your actions align with your purpose because you stopped running from it. And slowly but surely, the world starts to see what was always there, but hidden behind your hesitation. This is your moment. Not because everything is easy, but because you are ready to stop making excuses. The power within you is real, and it is strong, and it is waiting for you to stop playing small and start stepping into it fully. So stand up in your own life, take ownership of your path, and show the world what happens when you finally decide to become everything you were meant to be. There is something inside you that refuses to settle, something that keeps nudging you even when you try to ignore it. Something that shows up in quiet moments and asks you for more. That is not restlessness for no reason. That is greatness trying to get your attention. It is not loud, it does not beg, but it is always there waiting for one thing and one thing only: your courage to rise. Too many people misunderstand what greatness looks like. They think it belongs to a chosen few, to those who are given perfect conditions, perfect timing, perfect confidence. But that is not how it works. Greatness lives in ordinary people who make uncommon decisions. It lives in those who are willing to step forward even when their hands are shaking, even when their voice is uncertain, even when the outcome is not guaranteed. Because courage is not about feeling ready, it is about moving anyway. You have already felt it before that moment, when you knew you could do more, but you held back. That time when you had the idea, the vision, the opportunity, but fear stepped in and convinced you to stay where it was safe. And maybe you told yourself you would try later. Maybe you said the timing was not right. Maybe you waited for confidence to show up first. But confidence does not come before action. It comes because of it. And every time you chose hesitation over courage, you left a piece of your greatness untouched. Life will test you in ways you do not expect. It will put you in situations where the easy choice is to quit, to shrink, to step aside, and let someone else take the lead. It will challenge your belief in yourself and make you question whether you are really capable. But those moments are not there to break you. They are there to reveal you. They are there to show you what you are made of and to give you a chance to rise above what tries to hold you down. Courage is not something you are born with or without. It is something you build one decision at a time. It is built when you speak up even when your voice trembles. It is built when you take that first step even when the path is unclear. It is built when you refuse to let fear have the final say in your life. And every time you choose courage, no matter how small the moment may seem, you are unlocking a deeper level of who you are. You cannot wait for fear to disappear because it will not. The higher you aim, the more it will try to show up. But you have to understand fear is not your enemy. It is a signal. It is telling you that you are standing at the edge of growth, that you are about to step into something bigger than what you have known. And instead of running from that feeling, you have to learn how to face it, how to move through it, how to use it as fuel instead of letting it become a barrier. There is a responsibility that comes with having greatness inside you. It is not just about what you can achieve for yourself, it is about the impact you can have on others. When you choose courage, you do not just change your own life, you inspire people around you to believe that they can do the same. Your actions become proof that fear can be overcome, that limits can be broken, that potential can be turned into reality, but none of that happens if you stay where you are. None of that happens if you keep waiting for the right moment. None of that happens if you keep telling yourself that you will start someday. Someday is a dangerous place because it keeps you stuck. It gives you the illusion of progress without requiring you to take any real steps. And before you know it, time has passed, and the greatness that was once calling you has been buried under regret. So the question is not whether you have greatness inside you, because you do. The real question is, are you willing to rise up and meet it? Are you willing to step out of your comfort zone and face the uncertainty? Are you willing to take risks knowing that, lure is possible, but growth is guaranteed? Are you willing to stop playing it safe and start playing it real? Because at the end of the day, your life will not be defined by how many times you felt fear. It will be defined by how many times you chose to act in spite of it. It will be defined by the moments you decided to stand tall when it would have been easier to shrink. It will be defined by the times you trusted yourself enough to go after what was placed inside you. That greatness is still there. It has not left you. It has not given up on you. It is still waiting, waiting for you to stop doubting, waiting for you to stop hesitating, waiting for you to finally say enough is enough and step into who you were meant to be. And the moment you decide to rise with courage, not perfectly, but consistently, you will begin to see a version of yourself that you have never seen before, but always felt was possible. You have spent enough time questioning yourself, enough time standing on the edge of your own potential, wondering if you are really capable, enough time letting doubt speak louder than the truth that has always been inside you. And here is the reality you may not want to hear at first, but you need to understand it. Your doubt has never been proof that you lack something. It has only been a sign that you have not fully stepped into what you already carry. From the very beginning, there were gifts placed inside you not randomly, not accidentally, but intentionally. Ways of thinking that are different, ways of seeing the world that others may not notice, abilities that feel natural to you but could change everything if you actually chose to develop them. The problem is you have been so focused on what you think you do not have that you have ignored what has been there all along waiting for your attention. Doubt has a way of disguising itself as logic. It tells you to be careful, to wait, to hold back until you are sure. It convinces you that you need more time, more validation, more certainty before you take a step forward. But if you listen closely, you will realize that voice has kept you in the same place for far too long. It has kept you from trying, from risking, from discovering what you are truly capable of becoming. And the longer you listen to it, the more comfortable it becomes, until it feels like truth even when it is not. You have to make a decision at some point to stop negotiating with that voice. Not because it will disappear, but because you are no longer going to let it control your actions. There is a difference between hearing doubt and obeying it. You can feel uncertain and still move forward. You can question yourself and still take the next step. Because growth does not require perfect confidence. It requires consistent action. Your gifts are not going to reveal themselves while you sit still. They show up when you engage, when you try, when you put yourself in situations where you have to stretch beyond what feels comfortable. You discover what you are good at by doing, not by thinking about doing. You uncover your strengths by using them, not by waiting for someone else to point them out. And every time you take action, you learn something new about yourself that doubt could never teach you. There will be moments when you feel like you are not making progress, when it seems like what you are doing is not working, when you start to question if you are on the right path. That is part of the process. Discovery is not clean, it is not predictable, and it does not happen overnight. It is messy, it requires patience, and it demands that you keep going even when the results are not immediate. Because the truth is, most people quit before they ever get close to discovering what they were capable of. You have to be willing to go rough that phase where you are learning, where you are adjusting, where you are not the best, but you are getting better. because that is where your gifts begin to take shape. That is where you start to see patterns, where you start to recognize what comes naturally to you, where you start to build confidence not from words, but from experience. And that kind of confidence cannot be taken from you because you earned it through effort. Stop comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. Stop looking at what others are doing and using it as a reason to hold yourself back. Their journey is not your standard. Your focus needs to be on your own growth, your own development, your own willingness to show up and improve. Because the moment you shift your attention back to yourself, you begin to see opportunities where you once saw limitations. There is a responsibility that comes with having gifts. It is not enough to have them, you have to use them. It is not enough to recognize them, you have to develop them. And that takes discipline. That takes showing up when you do not feel like it. That takes pushing through when progress feels slow, because talent alone will not carry you as far as consistent effort will. You are not here to blend in. You are here to stand out in your own way, not by trying to be someone else, but by becoming more of who you already are. And that only happens when you stop hiding behind doubt and start stepping into discovery. When you stop waiting for permission and start giving yourself the chance to grow. The truth is, your gifts have been with you this whole time. They have been showing up in small ways, in the things you enjoy, in the things you are naturally drawn to, in the moments when you feel most like yourself. But you have to pay attention. You have to be willing to explore them, to invest in them, to give them space to develop. So this is where it changes. Not because everything suddenly becomes easy, but because you decide to stop letting doubt lead your life. You decide to move forward even when you are unsure. You decide to try even when you are not perfect. You decide to discover what is possible instead of assuming what is not. And as you do that step by step, day by day, you will begin to see something shift. You will start to recognize strengths you never acknowledged. You will start to build skills you once thought were out of reach. You will start to trust yourself in a way you never have before. Because the moment you stop doubting and start discovering is the moment you begin to unlock a version of yourself that has been waiting patiently for you to finally show up. There is something inside you that has been trying to get your attention for a long time, something quiet but persistent, something that shows up in the things you are naturally drawn to, the things you do without being told, the moments where you feel alive without needing a reason. That is not random. That is not luck. That is a signal. Your hidden talents are not just abilities. They are directions, they are clues, pointing you toward a life that actually means something. Most people spend their lives chasing what looks successful instead of discovering what they were built for. They follow paths that were never meant for them, and then they wonder why it feels heavy, why it feels forced, why it feels like something is missing. It is because they ignored what was already inside them. They overlooked the very thing that could have given them both purpose and fulfillment. And that is the difference. You have to understand success. Without alignment feels empty, but success built on your natural gifts carries power. Your hidden talents do not always show up in obvious ways. Sometimes they are buried under fear. Sometimes they are dismissed because they feel too easy. Sometimes they are ignored because they do not match what the world expects. But just because something comes naturally to you does not mean it is not valuable. In fact, that is usually the sign that it matters the most. What feels normal to you could be extraordinary to someone else, but you will never see that if you keep overlooking it. You have to be willing to pay attention to yourself in a deeper way. Look at what energizes you instead of what drains you. Notice where your focus sharpens without effort. Recognize the moments where you lose track of time because you are so locked into what you are doing. Those are not coincidences. Those are indicators. That is your talent trying to show itself, trying to grow, trying to become something greater if you give it the chance. But talent alone is not enough. You have to develop it. You have to refine it. You have to put it to work. Because potential that is not used becomes frustration. You start to feel like you are capable of more, but you cannot explain why. You feel like something is missing even when everything looks fine on the outside. That feeling is not confusion. That is untapped ability, asking to be expressed. There will be resistance when you start to move in that direction. There will be doubt telling you it is not practical. Fear telling you it is too risky, voices around you questioning your choices, because they do not understand what you see. But purpose is not something that needs approval from others. It is something that requires commitment from you. You have to trust what is inside you enough to follow it, even when it is not popular, and understand this clearly: your talents are not just for you. They are meant to serve something bigger. When you step into what you are naturally gifted at, you do not just elevate your own life, you create value for others. You solve problems. You inspire, you build, you contribute in ways that only you can. That is where real success comes from. Not just from what you achieve, but from what you give, through what you have been given. Too many people wait for the perfect moment to start, but that moment does not exist. You start where you are with what you have. You begin exploring, practicing, improving. You take small steps consistently, and you allow growth to happen over time. Because mastery is not built overnight. It is built through repetition, through discipline, through showing up even when the excitement fades and the work becomes real. There will be times when progress feels slow, when you question if it is worth it, when you are tempted to go back to what is easy and familiar. That is where most people turn around. But if you stay with it, if you keep developing what is inside you, something begins to shift. Your confidence grows because you see improvement. Your clarity increases because you understand yourself better. Your path starts to make sense, not because it is simple, but because it is yours. You are not here to live someone else's version of success. You are here to build something that reflects who you truly are. And that starts with recognizing that what you have been given matters. Your talents are not small, they are not insignificant, they are not optional. They are essential to the life you are meant to live. So stop ignoring them, stop pushing them aside, stop treating them like they are not important. Because the more you neglect them, the further you move from the life that is waiting for you, and the more you invest in them, the closer you get to something real, something meaningful, something that feels right at your core. This is not about becoming someone new. It is about becoming more of who you already are. It is about uncovering what has been there all along and choosing to NG it forward with intention and effort. It is about understanding that your purpose is not something you find outside of yourself. It is something you build by using what is already within you. And when you commit to that, when you stop chasing and start aligning, when you stop doubting and start developing, you begin to unlock a level of success that is not just measured by results, but by fulfillment. A success that feels earned because it is connected to your truth. A success that lasts because it is built on something real. Your hidden talents are the key, but they only work if you use them, and the moment you decide to do that consistently, without excuses, without hesitation, is the moment your life begins to move in a direction that no one else can define, but you will recognize it, because it will feel like everything finally starts to come together. There is a shift that happens in your life when belief in yourself stops being a question and starts becoming a decision. Not a feeling that comes and goes depending on circumstances, but a standard you choose to live by. Because the truth is, your strengths have always been there, waiting, steady, patient, not disappearing when you doubt yourself, just hidden behind the weight of that doubt. And the moment you begin to believe, really believe, you give those strengths permission to rise. Too many people are waiting to feel confident before they act, waiting for some sign that they are ready, waiting for approval that may never come. But belief does not start after success, it starts before it. It is the foundation, not the reward. And if you keep waiting for evidence before you trust yourself, you will stay stuck in the same place, watching others move forward, while you question your own potential. You have to understand something clearly: your mind listens to what you tell it. If you keep feeding it doubt, it will keep showing you reasons to hesitate. If you keep telling yourself you are not enough, it will make that feel like truth even when it is not. But when you start shifting that narrative, when you start speaking to yourself with strength instead of fear, something begins to change. Your focus sharpens, your energy shifts, your actions start aligning with a higher version of who you are. Belief is not about ignoring your weaknesses. It is about refusing to let them define you. It is about recognizing that you are a work in progress and still choosing to move forward anyway. Because your strengths do not need perfection to exist, they need expression. They need you to use them, to test them, to bring them into the light where they can grow stronger through experience. There will be moments when your belief is challenged. Situations that make you question yourself, people who do not see what you see, outcomes that do not go the way you expected. That is part of the journey. But belief is proven in those moments, not in the easy ones. It is easy to feel confident when everything is working. The real test is whether you can hold on to that belief when things get difficult, when results are slow, when you feel like you are pushing forward without immediate reward. Because that is where your strength is built, not in comfort, not in certainty, but in persistence, in showing up again and again, even when it would be easier to step back. In trusting that what you are building within yourself matters even if the world has not recognized it yet. That kind of belief is not fragile. It is grounded, it is steady, and it creates a foundation that nothing external can easily shake when you truly believe in yourself. Your actions begin to reflect it. You stop second-guessing every decision. You stop holding back in moments that matter. You start taking opportunities instead of avoiding them. And how those actions, your strengths begin to reveal themselves in ways you may not have seen before. Not because they suddenly appeared, but because you finally gave them space to be seen. Think about how many times you held back not because you could not do something, but because you were unsure if you should. How many opportunities passed, not because you lacked ability, but because you lacked belief. That is the cost of doubt. It keeps you from even trying. And when you do not try, you never get the chance to discover what you are truly capable of. But the moment you decide to believe, you break that cycle. You step into a different mindset, one where growth becomes possible because action becomes consistent. You start learning from experience instead of being controlled by fear. You start building confidence not from imagination, but from evidence you create through effort. And it is not always going to be comfortable. Believing in yourself means taking responsibility for your own growth. It means no more excuses, no more waiting, no more blaming circumstances for where you are. It means looking at yourself honestly and deciding that you are capable of more. And then backing that decision with action every single day. Your strengths are not meant to stay hidden. They are meant to be developed, to be used, to make an impact, but they cannot do that if you keep them locked behind doubt. They cannot shine if you never step into situations that challenge you. They cannot grow if you refuse to take risks. So this is where it begins. Not with everything figured out, not with perfect confidence, but with a choice. A choice to trust yourself more than you fear failure. A choice to act even when you feel uncertain. A choice to keep going even when progress feels slow. Because the more you do that, the more you start to see a different version of yourself. A version that is not held back by hesitation. A version that is willing to step forward. A version that understands that belief is not about being perfect. It is about being committed. And as that belief becomes stronger, your strengths will follow. They will begin to show in your actions, in your decisions, in the way you carry yourself. Not in a way that seeks approval, but in a way that reflects confidence built from within. You do not need the world to tell you who you are. You do not need permission to step into your potential. What you need is to decide that you are done doubting what has always been there and ready to start living in a way that allows it to be seen. Because once you believe, truly believe, truly believe, you stop hiding and you start becoming, and that is when your true strengths begin to shine. In a way that not only changes how you see yourself, but changes how the world experiences you. And when you reach that point where belief becomes your foundation and not just a passing thought, everything about your life begins to change in a way that feels real and undeniable. You stop waiting for the right moment, and you start creating it. You stop asking for permission, and you start giving yourself the authority to move forward. The hesitation that once held you back begins to lose its power, because you no longer entertain it the same way. You begin to understand that your journey is yours for a reason, and that what you carry inside is not meant to stay hidden, but to be lived out boldly and consistently. Every step you take with belief strengthens your character, sharpens your focus, and reveals more of what you are capable of becoming. So, keep going, keep building, Keep trusting even when the path is not clear. Because the more you walk in belief, the more your life aligns with purpose, and the more your strengths rise to the surface in ways that cannot be ignored. And one day you will look back and realize that everything changed the moment you decided to believe in yourself and never turned back.